You're rolling on camera 1, yeah?
Yeah, camera 1. So sometimes we have bad days, sometimes we push ourselves to exhaustion, and sometimes we feel like what we're doing is meaningless or unappreciated. Now this might be fine in peaks and troughs, but when does it become a problem, and when should you be concerned? Hi, this is Phil from CVSam. At CVSam, our goal is to help you land that next dream job. We give you tips and tricks for your CV, your next job interview, and your career in general. So in this video, we're going to cover what is burnout, and I'm going to give you some tips on how you can prevent yourself from burning out. There are different definitions of burnout, but it's generally the feeling of being under immense pressure. It comes about after you've been feeling stressed for a while already. You might be feeling that the work that you're working on is meaningless, or you aren't really solving any problems. You might have lost motivation, you might be feeling disengaged with the task at hand, and you might generally just recognise that you don't feel like you're performing as you generally would. Although it isn't only your full-time job that you can experience burnout, it's probably the most common place that people do feel that they're burning out. So how do you know if you're experiencing burnout? So, you might feel exhausted, you might feel like you're losing motivation, you might feel like you're underperforming, so you might be struggling to focus, you might feel like what you're working on isn't for a greater good or is contributing positively towards a goal or objective. You might be struggling to forget about work, so you finished work and you're struggling to wind down in the evening. You might be struggling to sleep at night because your brain is constantly thinking about work. You might be worrying about starting work on Monday. You might be worrying about the sheer volume of work that you've got to do. And so this can feel quite overwhelming. Burnout can also start to impact your health. So you might start to have persistent headaches, you might start to have problems with your stomach. Personally for me, burnout presents itself in 2 or 3 different ways. I start to worry about work on Monday, and this might lead me to logging in on a Sunday to try and get ahead, because I feel like that will alleviate the pressures and the worry. I work long hours, so I might log in earlier and I might not get off of the computer for a very long period of time. I log in earlier than I should, and I probably don't log off until much later than I should, so I start to work really long hours. And for me personally, I get quite motivated when I see that I'm having a positive impact. And I know that I'm experiencing burnout when for days and weeks, maybe even longer, I feel like the work that I'm doing isn't having a positive impact. So now I'm going to talk about a couple of solutions which I know work because I use them myself, and it might help you as well. So tip number 1 is to create boundaries. So Parkinson's law is the notion that a task will take as long as you give it. Basically, if you assign a task that you're going to do within an hour, it'll take you an hour. But if you say that you're going to do it within half an hour, you might just be able to get it done in half an hour. Say to yourself, I'm going to start work at this time and I'm going to finish at this time. Basically, the principle is you can get your work done in that time. Now, you might worry that by cutting down the amount of hours that you're going to actually exacerbate the problem and that you're not going to get things done. But actually, by logging in earlier and logging in later, you're probably not getting much more work done. And what you're actually doing is impeding your work-life balance, and you're using that time that you could otherwise spend on something like a hobby, spending it with your friends and family, or doing something else that you enjoy, but instead you're using it for your work and you're feeling overworked. Tip number 2 is stop trying to be a perfectionist. If you're trying to set yourself impossible standards and trying to reach impossible heights, you're never going to achieve them. And whilst it's easier said than done, the sooner you realise that your work is better done than perfect, then the sooner you'll relieve the pressure off of yourself to hold yourself to a certain standard that you're not going to achieve. Tip number 3 is use your annual leave. So you're given a certain amount of annual leave every year. In the UK we're quite lucky the amount of time that we do get. Something that I don't do is use it enough, and what I would say is use the annual leave, take the time off work, don't feel guilty, don't worry about the fact that when you come back you're going to have loads of emails or you're going to have loads of work to do. Your employer isn't going to stop functioning if you take annual leave. You deserve it. You need to take that time off, you need to unwind, take a week off, take 2 weeks off, go and do something else and take your mind off of your work. This will help you. Tip number 4 is make sure that you've got outside of work interests. So make sure that you've got hobbies and interests that you look forward to, stuff that you're doing on the weekend, maybe in your evenings. It's easy to get caught up with your work and think that that is, what you wake up and you just go to work and then you go to bed, and that's a vicious cycle. You need other stuff to look forward to. Tip number 5, meditation. So I'm including meditation on here. It's not something that I've yet seen the benefits of, but it's certainly something that's documented and a lot of other people are talking about. It's something that I'm toying with, and it's something that I'll report back if I do see value in it. In fact, that's an idea. If you know that meditation works, please put a comment below and let me know, right? I'd love to know if people have seen success with meditation to try and reduce burnout and stress at the workplace. Okay, so let's recap. Number 1, create boundaries for yourself. Number 2, don't be a perfectionist. Number 3, use your annual leave. Number 4, have hobbies. Have something to look forward to on your evenings and your weekends. And number 5, try meditation. Okay, so if you found this useful, hit like. If you like this type of content, hit subscribe and click the bell icon so that you see the videos next time. Don't forget that we're over at CVSam.com, a free online CV builder. You get to create unlimited CVs, it's completely for free. It takes about 60 seconds to register. It takes a couple of minutes to create your first CV. Okay, that's a wrap guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.